Today's video is a pivotal one in Michael's collecting journey.
Possibly my life.
Should he liquidate all of his watches to get into one passé Daytona? Let's talk about it.
Passé.
What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Vintage Watch Shop.
My name is Michael. This video is sponsored by Tej Hanley. Did I hang up on Michael when I said my name? Is it Michael?
I don't know. I didn't notice that.
Everything went black. So in this video, you are acting like a consultant, collection consultant to me, like I've seen you do so many times.
Yeah, listen, I did this on YouTube for years. We don't do it as often anymore, but I'm always getting messages, be it over email, over Instagram DM, but believe it or not, on LinkedIn more often than you would expect.
Yeah.
By the way, if you want to friend me over on LinkedIn, go ahead. I'll put the link down below.
You're a big LinkedIn guy.
I love LinkedIn. I'm a really big LinkedIn guy. I like to be abreast to what's going on in the community, like people getting new jobs and always DM me. I'm a big LinkedIn guy. I actually more than a lot of other social platforms. I think I'm actually on there more than
I would say that connect with you on LinkedIn if you want to talk business.
Yes.
Because you are more open to there when you can see someone as a professional rather than on Instagram where their username is like Coffee Cup Watchman.
100%. And the big thing about LinkedIn too is I do LinkedIn from my computer, not from my phone. I mean, I have it on my phone, obviously, but I do it with my computer. Yeah. So I'm engaged. When I'm on my phone and I'm on Instagram, for instance, like, you can't really ask me a question because I'm on my phone and I'm in the middle of something. I'm just looking at photos. Yeah. So I'm in the bathroom on a date or something, or I'm pooping. Like, you know what I mean? So your question is not really landing at a time that makes any sense. And I don't mean to snub anybody, God, never. But the nature of the medium lends itself to being to not being able to engage. Yeah. So anyway, friend me over on LinkedIn, join my network, and let's just connect. I'll say yes. I'll say yes. So today I'm going to be giving you some collecting advice, some consultation, but you can actually give me some advice on your skincare because you're looking pretty good, pal.
Thank you so much. The reason for that is because I am using Tej Hanley, who is the sponsor of today's video.
Tej Hanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products that you need and none of the products that you don't.
Obviously. I like that. And it's true because implementing a quality skincare routine into your life will boost your confidence no matter what you're doing.
Of course.
You feel much better when you're glowing in the sun.
Absolutely.
I use their level 1 system, which implements all the basics that you need for healthy skin. A daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, and an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer without sunscreen. Because you don't need it when you're sleeping.
In every box they send you, they provide a beautiful and informative instruction card as well for best use.
Honestly, skincare was something I never really took seriously up until maybe college level. Mm-hmm. And the change in my mood and how I felt going out and about is dramatic.
It's incredibly important.
Truly.
Tej Hanley has over 7,000 5-star reviews from customers all over the world.
Wow. In addition to just amazing skin, Tej Hanley members get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail prices, access to exclusive monthly deals, and you can pause or cancel at any time, so it's not a pain in the butt, along with free shipping.
Amazing. And because Tej Hanley is a sponsor of today's video, they're offering you, the viewers, a special deal, 30% off of your first order.
Wow. Just click the link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift, which is great. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Click that link and let's get started today.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Thanks, Tej Hanley. Again, thank you so much, Tej Hanley, for sponsoring this video. You can check out the link below.
Today's conversation is interesting, and it's a bit of a fool's errand because no matter where we go with this episode, no matter what my recommendation ultimately is, Michael will end up unhappy and he'll either sell his collection anyway or sell his Daytona. It doesn't matter, right?
One of my closest friends in college would always say, I don't know why you ask anybody for advice because you just do exactly what you wanted to do anyways immediately after.
Yeah, but that's, good. You want people's opinion. Your input colored my decision making.
Yes.
Still made my decision, but I was listening.
I heard what you said, yes.
So this is an interesting conversation because there are a couple of different questions at hand here, and this is going to be good for everybody at all stages of collecting.
Yes.
And here are the couple of the questions that I've got in my mind. Number one, can anyone be a one-watch guy, truly?
Has been my dream forever.
Is that even possible?
Yes.
Number two, if there can be a one-watch guy, and if you are you really a Daytona guy? I mean, can you even separate the merits of the Daytona from the hype of the Daytona these days?
Right.
Is it even possible?
Right.
And then number three, so far as the future of collecting, if you're going to buy a Daytona,
yes,
there are two that are pretty close in price. But is one far more collectible or will be far more valuable in the long run?
Yep.
Those are the three questions I want to talk about today.
Yep.
So let's get into it. You've got a couple of watches now.
Yes, I do. Well, first off, I'm wearing a G-Shock DW5000.
This is my consulting phase.
You got that watch, why? Well, what are you wearing?
Oh, I'm wearing a beautiful Piaget watch. This is 18 karat yellow gold. You can tell just in that richness of the color of the metal, with a beautiful tiger's eye dial, manually wound movement, ultra thin. This watch is available in the Theo and Harris watch shop. This watch is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the person that's new to collecting and kind of doesn't know what to do.
Truly.
This watch is for the sort of person that thinks that while sports watches are incredible, there is certain credit and clout and interest and beauty in buying something that is just so rich and polarizing and of the 70s.
Yes.
There is so much that a Piaget like this says that a lot of other watches simply just, they don't say as much, right?
Right.
If a watch could say 1,000 words, it would be this watch.
It's true.
I love
very
wearing
true.
this watch, and it is available in the Theo and Harris watch shop.
Yes, it is.
So go ahead and take a look and explore our full collection.
I am going to put the watch that was supposed to fill the slot of the Daytona last, which is also possibly the hardest one to sell because of the ridiculous amount of attention that it gets whenever I wear it. But first off, Grand Seiko Omiwatari, our best friend watch.
Yep.
I would sell it. Frankly.
You're like, because if I sell it, we're still buddies. I'm like, right, but it hurts your buddy.
I'm like, man, I
You're
really
like, but my buddy's so strong.
Man, I really took a bath on that Grand Seiko. And you still sold it? It means nothing. Wow.
Like, I thought it was like the
You have a Grand Seiko Omiwatari tattoo on your arm. Omiwatari brothers.
It's a bad time for me to show you this tattoo I have for you.
It's still clear. You just got it.
It's wrapped in plastic.
I thought if I got it and showed it to you, you would sell it.
Next watch.
Next watch is my Rolex Explorer 114270. Love that watch. I broke that watch the first week that I got it fixed. Had a lot of fantastic memories with that. Wear it everywhere. That was my wear it all type watch. And finally, the king of the land in terms of anytime I go somewhere, people are commenting about it. People have taken screenshots of my arm like in motion because that was the clearest picture of the watch they could find. Being like, what is that watch? It is the Zenith Revival Shadow Chronomaster.
You love that watch.
I love that watch. I bought that watch specifically because I love chronographs and because I did not want the size of the Omega Speedmaster.
And I think also because you love Zenith.
Yes.
Michael has a deep love for the Zenith brand. I like Zenith as well, but I have not owned a Zenith. So my love has bounds, and I look forward to breaking those down. I look forward. To me, one of the greatest watches of the last 10 years was the blue Defy ceramic watch with the rubber strap. I don't believe it's currently in production, and I wish I owned that watch. It is a phenomenal watch. I would have worn it all summer. I love that watch. I'm an idiot for not having it.
I had the carbon too for a while.
That was a great.
That was an incredible. That's the thing about Zenith. I look at them as one incredibly experimental and weird. That's fine. That's not for everybody.
Yep.
But the other thing that they're doing that I really can't find any other brands doing, especially at their price point, is making chronographs that don't have compromises. They're not 38 millimeters, but 18 millimeters thick.
Yep.
They're 38 millimeters in like 10 or 12.
Zenith is one of the greatest watch brands currently producing, period. Period. Zenith is probably the only brand in the mainstream that still manufactures watches as if it was the golden era of watchmaking, right? They're still they're modern, yes, their styles have modernized, yes, but that kind of unwavering kind of dedication to better proportions, right? They can get modern in material and they can get modern in color, and that's all great.
Yeah.
But the proportions were always perfect. They're perfect.
Exactly.
So we don't need to make everything enormous, right?
Yeah.
And then everything went enormous. Now other brands are pulling them back down. Zenith was like, yeah, we kind of told you guys that it's just better this way.
And their whole, El Primero saying the first, even though they weren't the first automatic chronograph movement, that aggressiveness from a brand is really cool. Them having the Defy line, which really, to me, falls perfectly in line with the El Primero statement.
Well, the El Primero thing reminds me so much of Rolex with Mount Everest. Rolex wasn't the only watch in Mount Everest. It was just Smith's, right? There were other watches in Mount Everest, but Rolex is like, no, this is the Explorer. Sorry.
Yeah.
Off.
Yeah.
And Zenith was like, well, maybe we weren't exactly the first. We were basically the first, so we're going to call ourselves El Primero. Sorry. El Primero.
I love that. I love
cool.
that. Yeah.
So, the Zenith conversation leads me into one of the points that I think really informs the three questions.
Okay, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You are, if there is a brand that you have in your blood, I think it's Zenith.
I would agree.
Right?
Totally.
You own Rolexes, that's all well and good.
Yep.
If you're something that you are, it is a Zenith guy.
Yes.
That does inform this whole conversation, particularly as it revolves around which Daytona to get if you were to get one.
Of course. Yes, yes.
So, but before we get there, the first question.
Yes.
Is it possible to be a one-watch guy? Anybody.
That has been the goal for such a long time. And recently, on this channel, I've been exclusively wearing the Hamilton Pilot Pioneer.
Yep.
And basically day to day, or I put this G-Shock on. Because I find a lot of the times with my watches, if I'm even debating on selling them, I just put them to the side and I wear another watch to see how much I think about them, and then take a watch back out, put it on, see if it's like, oh wow, I can't believe I thought I was going to sell this.
Yep.
So ideally, it's one of those things like, can a one watch guy exist? Can someone find true happiness? You know,
right?
If you're into this hobby, if you're not, it's super easy. But I think it could, but I don't know if I'm that guy. I think I could do it for a certain amount of time, and then I'd be like, "Oh, but that's a really cool watch."
Yes, I think that it's very tough. I think that one watch would be impossible for me. I think a small collection is doable.
Small collection you can pull off.
I don't think you need to own everything, which is it's an uncommon opinion. Right? Everyone thinks you need to own everything, right? Like everyone, there's always buying every year, buying. I get it. I love to buy shit. I buy shit too.
Yeah.
But I could have a fairly small collection, I think.
Well, especially because you like
not dozens and dozens and dozens of watches.
You don't go on trend. I think people that are collecting, they have Rolex collections or like modern watch collections. There is a sign of like, well, now my watch is outdated. Because this one was steel, that one was ceramic. So like this is actually old.
Right.
When your choice is like, no, I wanted it old anyway.
Right.
And I just wanted gold.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think you could be a one watch guy. So let's just start there. I think this is all a bad decision. Well, this doesn't make it a bad decision because you could move all of your stuff into a Daytona and then you can continue to build your collection from the Daytona from there.
Restart, essentially.
Yeah, essentially restarting. Taking all your watches now, put them into Daytona, and then from there, building a small little collection.
Exactly. Which, I do have a Hamilton Pilot. Well, it's funny because I do have other watches that I don't put in this list.
Right, because they don't have tremendous value.
Yeah,
right.
Nomos Club Campus. Oh, no, sorry, not a Club Campus. Nomos Club Neomatic, this G-Shock, Hamilton Pilot Pioneer. Watches that I wear all the time.
Right.
But they're not watches I actually would even ever sell.
They're also not watches that represent so much value that to sell them would bring you considerably closer.
Maybe I sell a $100 watch for $50.
Right.
Like, oh, okay.
That's it. Right. I'm not closer to my Daytona now.
Right.
So that answers the first question as to kind of the collecting strategy and philosophy of a one watch owner. I don't think it can happen here, but it could be a reset.
I don't think a person watching these videos or making these videos is a guy that's like, oh, I'm happy with my one watch.
No, it's very, very tough.
Right.
The guy that has one watch bought it, in the 60s. He bought a perfect, GMT when he was in Germany, and he has it now, and he's like, wow, I didn't realize there's a whole community on YouTube about watches. This is I would have loved to have found this sooner.
What do you guys
3
talk
weeks
about?
later, he's miserable. He hates his watches now. It's like
he sells it. I was really not close to it.
Yeah, exactly. Watches are unimportant to the time. They can't speed, slow, or stop it, and our phones tell it better. But as vessels for memories, they know few rivals. So the next question would be, if you're going to get a Daytona,
yes,
which one? Did you go ceramic?
No, I do not go ceramic.
So you don't go, but you still go automatic. You're not going super vintage.
Wait, if I could go manual wind on not super vintage, I would, but that is not available.
Right. Manually wound Daytonas are very expensive. You're looking at to spend, close to $100,000, $70,000 and $100,000 on a Daytona.
Yes.
Is that positive and worth it for you?
No, absolutely not. That to the point where that level is like, I would much rather get a different watch at that point.
Fascinating.
Ooh.
Fascinating. Cutting.
That's crazy.
I happen to agree. I love a Daytona. I think they're cool watches. I've never owned one. I don't think I'll ever own a Daytona. They don't interest me that much.
Yeah.
But some of those vintage manual wound Daytonas are cool. I've worn them. I've worn them for extended periods of time. I do not think that they're worth what they're worth.
For me, I would be like, do I want a manual watch for that price? No. Would I want a Speedmaster because it's manual winding? Yes, that is a big selling point.
I just wouldn't want a $70,000 manually wound Daytona.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Apart from apart from saying like, oh, I'll own this for 6 months. I'll just park the $70,000 there and then I'll own it for 6 months. It'll be fun. I'll get a couple compliments. I'll be the Daytona guy for a while, and then I'll sell it. Maybe I'll lose $5,000, but that's okay.
You just convinced yourself.
I can do that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm getting a Jaguar. So
Yeah.
sick.
But
No.
it's still not me. I'm more of a platinum Daytona guy.
Yeah. Well, because the steel's too light,
steel's
especially
too
in
light.
vintage.
Right. Super
Yeah.
light. So, okay, so you're not going to go vintage. You're not going to go manual.
I would say if I was really a baller, I would consider, is it Patrizzi dial?
We're not there yet. Can you allow me to get there?
Sorry. Oh, so you know about these watches.
So you're not going to go manual.
Yes.
You're not going to go ceramic. If you could go ceramic, would you?
No.
No.
Too
Okay.
big. Or not too big, too thick. I feel like if I go like this, I'll hurt myself.
Okay. So now we're stuck in this era from 1988 to 16?
I think so, yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Basically, we could be off by a year.
Yep.
1988 to 2000 are what's called the Zenith Daytonas.
Yes.
And then 2000 to 2016, I believe, are the Inhouse Daytonas.
Okay, sure.
Visually speaking,
Well, 2000 to modern? Oh, because you cut out ceramic. I
right.
understand.
Visually speaking, the big difference is the Zenith Daytonas you go white dial or black dial?
White dial.
Okay.
Yes.
Have black subdials. These movements are El Primero movements that were then modified. They were not just stock El Primero, they were modified by Rolex, but the base was a Zenith.
Yep.
A Zenith Rolex. Michael, it's perfect for you.
Modified by Rolex too, which is cool.
Right. And then the second half, that 2000 to 2016, are in-house, and the
Yep.
subdials are silver.
Yes, and the placement of the seconds hand is moved.
Yeah, they're all a little bit different in those nuances.
Yeah.
Which do you lean on? Which are you thinking? There's an obvious question here.
It is an obvious question.
No. The obvious question is because clearly it's not that obvious to you. Is well, I mean, all things being equal, I mean, I have an opinion, but is there a price difference?
Well, the true answer is I particularly don't care. I would sort by price low to high. I look
Really?
at condition of case far outweighs what's inside for me.
But what about just the fact that it's a Zenith? The fact that it's a Zenith doesn't motivate you, doesn't attract you to that?
If I can get a better cased one that has the Rolex
Well,
movement-
assuming you're not going to be a cheap little you're just going to buy a good cased watch.
Oh, well, that's a stupid. I'm like, dude.
Well, I thought the condition. You are a condition guy. You're not going to buy a bad watch.
Oh, no, I won't.
Yeah, no, I don't even think that's on the table.
Oh, okay,
for you.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, because some people do that. Like what Michael's saying is definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Some people will say, rather the opposite. They'll say like, I'd rather get the better watch, even if it's a bad version. No.
Drives me insane.
No good.
You've seen me sell beautiful watches because I'm like, I think it was overpolished in 1941.
Yeah, exactly.
This, yeah.
So I agree with you there. I think you're dead
yeah.
on. Like whatever has better condition, that if gun to your head, you
Okay,
choose
yeah.
that.
Then in that case, I have to go with Zenith.
You have to go with Zenith.
Of course.
Right? It keeps that.
I'm like, oh, so it's inside the watch now instead of on the logo.
Right.
That's cool.
It's kind of cool.
Right.
You know? Okay, so you'd go Zenith.
Yes.
Now, the price difference is actually not as large as one would think. Bringing us into the last of the three questions about collectability,
Yeah.
I think the Zenith Daytonas are, I would use even the term far. I think they're far more valuable, or they have a potential that is much higher than the in-house Daytonas.
I would agree.
They are visually different. They are mechanically different. They're historically they were the first Daytonas automatic perpetual, right?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Rolex wasn't 100% Rolex yet.
Right.
Right.
You can get a in-house Daytona, right, the later one, for around, they start around 18, they come in around 21, around $20,000 you can get an automatic, silver, subdial Daytona, an in-house Daytona.
Yes.
The Zenith is probably gonna run you an extra $4,000.
Okay.
Okay, maybe $5,000, but in that vicinity.
Sure.
I don't think the price difference is that gross. I think that's
Well,
actually pretty close.
Especially because you know your client and you know his likelihood of selling watches.
Right.
That's huge.
Right.
If you're like, I think you're going to sell that in 5 years.
Right. $5,000, I don't think it's enough money to really split hairs over. Or you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's enough money. Once you're spending 20, you're already in for 20. What's the extra 4? Does that sound crazy? I don't know. Like,
I mean, once you're spending more than $10,000 on a watch, it's like, well, you could spend 12 and you get this.
right.
You know?
4 to 8, I get. There's a difference. 10 to 14, I get mentally. 9 to, I get all that.
Yep.
20 to 24, I'm sorry. I think that now you're in the class of just like
You're still spending $20,000
just get the
on a watch.
fucking watch. You want,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I do think that has a higher like likelihood of a hockey puck, right? Hockey stick.
It's a sport.
Hockey pucks are all
yeah,
flat.
with
Hockey
right.
stick is the.
I have a hockey puck in my childhood bedroom from Czechoslovakia that I found on a pond.
Wow.
Yeah.
In Czechoslovakia?
Yeah.
You're like, when I was a child, I was
Yes,
rummaging through my
I was-
Czechoslovakian pond. Like, I didn't realize you
I
grew
was
up
looking
there.
for enough rubber to melt down for a tire so I could drive to America.
So we've got a logical, maybe your watch collection is worth what?
A Daytona range.
Right. Your watch collection it's not an equal trade.
No, but I could get close enough.
Right. So
Yeah.
you have to put a couple $1,000s on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you, are you actually taking it seriously?
You mean right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about this for weeks.
Really?
Well, I've been thinking about it for more than weeks. I've been seriously considering it for a while.
Wow.
But I'll hit you with the kicker at the end when we get to the decision.
Okay, well, what's the decision?
Well, no, I wanted to see your final thoughts.
Oh, okay.
Then I'll give you the kicker.
Okay, so here's my thought.
Sure.
My thought is nothing you're selling you couldn't buy back,
True.
right? Which is huge in vintage, right? Like
Yes.
that's what I have to think about all the time. I'm like, well, if I sell it,
The watch on your wrist right now,
I'm probably saying goodbye to that.
and if you get it back, it is literally that watch.
Right,
Which has happened to
exactly.
you before.
Right,
You're like,
exactly.
I can't believe I got this watch back.
The watches that I like, they manufacture in super small quantities oftentimes. So once you say goodbye, say goodbye.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say move on. You're
Yep.
clearly a little bit bored of your watch collection.
Yep.
Get the Daytona. I don't think that the Daytona is like the ultimate, watch. I don't know why you want a Daytona, really.
Yeah.
But so the question is, are you separating your decision making from the Daytona hype?
I would hope so, because it's the chronograph function specific. A thin chronograph at an appropriate size is what I've been after for a very long time. That's why I got the Zenith. I tried out my friend's Speedmaster for a while. Like, it's always been in that area, and I just can't find an alternative out of those three brands.
Are you even going to be comfortable wearing a $20,000 watch? No.
Dude, I'm in New York. People don't care about that stuff there.
I don't even mean it like that. I just mean
People
like,
are
you're going to look at it
selfless.
every day and be like,
Well-
I should have invested this money.
So that is the end of this video. There's two things. One is the Zenith, like I said, it's very tough to separate from that watch, because whenever I wear it, there are people asking about it and talking about it, and when they want to see it. That becomes like a part of you. Even if I don't want to be like, oh, I like the compliments, you're still like, yeah, everybody's like, wow, that is a cool watch.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, upon liquidation of the watch collection, I'm going to look at that money and be like, why did I even buy those watches in the first place?
Right.
I'm starting with the Iron Snail. I'm like, that's a whole order of things I
Right,
can do.
right.
That's the true kicker. If
And how beautiful would it be to have this Daytona that you engrave a snail on the back, and it's,
now that's crazy, yeah.
and there you go. It's slow and steady wins the race, my man.
But at the same time, then I say, well, I got the Explorer right before I drove to Canada, so that would be the snail watch, because Canada was where I picked up the jacket.
You can rewrite that.
Dude, it's a writer's
That's just
note.
a thing you said, dude. That doesn't mean anything.
So that is beautiful, but it does get to the point where I was talking with a friend recently. I was like, I bought those watches in haste because I love watches. But now that I think about just that number on the table, I'm like, do you know how much I could do with that number in my life?
Right.
That's not own a watch like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Especially when I've just been wearing a Hamilton and this G-Shock.
Right.
That's the true kicker of this entire question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
Whereas
and-
I'm more of a suck the marrow from life kind of guy.
Well, we're also at two different stages with our banking.
No, I know.
But
But listen, principles are principles, right? Like, that's I get meaning like the principle of finance. You're correct, and it applies to everybody. And,
Yeah, right.
It totally applies to everybody.
You're like, I mean,
we just have different temperaments. yeah.
That's the true kicker at the end of the day. It's not the collection liquidation in general, which does hold a lot of weight. It is if this money is, I'm putting these watches to the side to see if I like one watch better. What on earth can I do with that money?
Right. You could.
It's a year's rent.
Yeah,
I could not
list
pay
is
rent
like
for a
insane.
year.
Struggling to
Kids
think of
buying
things
a
you could do with
Jaguar
20
F-Type.
grand. I'm like, I don't even know what I would do with 20,000. No,
Dude, that's a beautiful weekend with your family.
Yeah. A buddy of mine went on vacation recently to Montauk and spent like $25,000 on the hotel room.
Oh my God.
It was like, God.
That would be nice to be at that point one day, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, putting that much money into a business I'm working on would just
Of course.
You know what I mean? But it's that.
No. I totally get what you mean. I definitely, just a little happy medium, be proud and own something that you want. The follow-up question that I would have is, but is that $20,000? Is that, Do you need to invest $20,000 into your business, or do you need to invest that $20,000 into your business? Because you have another $20,000, which you do.
Yeah.
Just invest that $20,000.
How do you know?
Yeah, right. Do you see my point?
Oh yeah.
It's like, the hell, who cares? Wear a nice watch. You're in the watch hobby. Come on.
That's the thing. That's a tough
You know,
one.
yeah. The only watches that I'll sell are watches that I look at and say, I don't appreciate that $30,000 worth.
Yes.
I don't $20,000, $12,000. I just don't appreciate it like that level. I bought it maybe years ago for a lot less money, and when the market was different, and I was smart that I did that. Like, I was in an accident, obviously, to a large degree, but I was like, it's like, oh, I don't like that $18,000 worth.
Yeah,
so I'm not the rightful owner anymore. Like,
Right.
You know,
well,
I'd actually rather have the money. It's not what could I do with the money. It's I just actually prefer to have the 19 grand.
Yeah, right.
I buy something I like.
My car needs gas.
Right. Car needs gas.
But here's the thing. Here's the final thing that
Jaguar's pretty good on the gas.
I know, it's obscene.
Yeah, it's obscene.
I drove a U-Haul yesterday. I was moving my girlfriend in.
That's
same gas mileage as
what?
your Jaguar.
Yeah, wow.
19.4 miles a gallon.
Pretty good.
Here's the thing that we end on, that I want to end on, because I think it's an interesting distinction between us, but we do have the same idea.
You're like, you're fat, but we both appreciate health. I'm like, what?
I just feel like one of us doesn't achieve it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, both of us, like, I was saying to Taylor yesterday, I was like, I gotta go for a run.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta.
yeah.
And she was like, I mean, how far can you even run? I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. She said we should go on a run together because she's a donor.
I could never run with her. She's probably in phenomenal shape.
She doesn't like running distance, but there's no one faster than Taylor.
That's
it's unbelievable.
crazy. Jesus.
Well, before we get to that, when Taylor used to run track, and her coach to her one day said, "Why don't you run faster?" And Taylor said, "Oh," and then became the fastest member on her track team.
That's funny.
Anyways, the final thing, we both are romantic about watches and storytelling and everything like that. I see a one watch collection, or having that one watch, as the idea of I'm finally focused on other things. I'm doing other things. Like we always say, you're
on from.
Oh, no. It's just like I'm not like, oh my God, I hate the Daytona and I gotta work and I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But we talk about, like, your ideal thought is, am I wearing this watch at a diner, like on a Sunday?
Oh,
sun coming up. To me, that also ties into a one watch collection. Am I wearing my watch at a diner? Not am I wearing one of my watches?
Totally agree with you.
Because then I get into the mindset of, well, am I, obviously thinking I'm like 60 to 70 years old.
Right.
I'm like, am I that guy that wore his Hamilton his whole life? Or am I that guy that wore his Daytona from his 20s? That's a big thing for me.
That's
too.
cool.
Am I, like, Taylor's grandfather wears a Casio.
Right.
Beautiful house, everything. Could get a very, very nice watch. Wears his Casio.
Right.
Beeps every hour.
Yeah, right.
85 years old.
Yeah.
There's two types of guys. So I'm like, well, which one?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I don't, and now we're getting a little abstract. I think we answered all the questions, right? Like, I think that Michael's able to, or thinks he's able to separate the Daytona, his love for the Daytona from the hype, thinks he's able to.
Yep.
Who knows? I was actually talking to someone the other day that can say with certainty that he preferred other watches. Like, he was offered a Batman and a Daytona, both at retail 5 years ago.
Whoa.
And chose the Batman. And he's like, yep, I don't regret it. I love that watch. I have a Daytona now too. But no, I can definitely, I am one of the few people in the world that can definitely say, I actually like the Batman more.
Wow.
That's kind of a cool thing.
That is.
So you can separate it, at least you think you can, maybe you can't, you should, maybe enter this next part of your life with one watch that you like more than a bunch of other watches you like less. I think we answered our questions, so we can be a little bit tangential.
Yeah, of course.
And I think you're absolutely right about the sentimentality aspect. You know, I definitely love watches that I have in the shop, right, in the Theo and Harris shop. I really love them.
That 321, dude.
They're amazing.
Ooh.
They're amazing watches, and I love them. But I don't wear those. I wear those watches sometimes. I'm wearing one right now. This isn't in the shop, right?
Yep.
I don't wear those watches when I'm going to go do something important. I know that because I want to go make a memory with my watch.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
When I go on a date, I wear my watch.
Right.
All the time. My watch. My watch I'm not going to sell because I know that if, like, I'm definitely sentimental enough that if this does go somewhere, like, I was wearing my watch.
I was wearing my watch that day.
Not some watch that's in the UK right now.
Right.
On some other guy's wrist.
Right.
I'm wearing the watch that'll still be here. And if this doesn't work out, then I can choose to keep it or not. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Right.
But, like, I definitely like to... Important meetings. I wear my watch. Mm-hmm. Like, that's definitely... and it feels amazing. Like, you know, when I travel for business specifically and I wear my GMT Master, it's rare that I feel better than that in that moment.
Of course.
Like, in that moment when I'm taking off... I don't take off my... wow, geez. I almost said take off my shoes. I don't take off my shoes anymore. Because of, like, all those pre-checks and all that bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
It's years ago, right? But when you're emptying your pockets, right? At what's it called? At security. I look down at my watch and I'm like, that's
cool.
GMT.
Yeah.
My dad's a GMT guy. I'm a GMT guy.
Yeah,
GMT guys. So it's definitely like a beautiful, like, you know, and this idea, like, of an expensive watch even.
Sure.
You know, and not that every watch has to be expensive, because God knows that's not true. If you look at my watch collection, I have plenty of watches that are really inexpensive in there because I just love them. I really love them.
Of course.
But that whole idea of like buying at least just one watch that was maybe a little bit too expensive while you're still young and having that forever, that's so baller.
You know what I think of every time?
So cool.
Pix video.
Oh, 100%. The Navitimer.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
You should definitely watch that video. It's called I Should Have.
We'll link it.
I wish I brought my
card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely link that video. It's
he
really,
says,
really
like,
good.
I wish. No, I bought this, you know, when I couldn't afford it, and like, you know, in hindsight, it wasn't the best, but like, I would do it again.
Right, do it again.
Like, wow.
And all these years later, like, I can afford the watch, and it all worked out. Everything's fine, and I don't think I would have been any richer with that $3,000, that $4,000, $5,000. I don't think I would have been any richer. Right?
Yeah. I think about that all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Money's not even real since we left the gold standard. You know. I definitely like, and there's definitely such a thing as having too many. Obviously, 100%. But like, I definitely, you know, look forward to like telling my sons or daughters, or if I don't have them, nephews or nieces.
You'll find a child to talk to.
I'll find a child. Find a child at the park.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. You pick them up. They're really light too. You can just pick them up. You know. And I'll just say like, you know, tell the story of some of these watches that meant something. And, you know, I don't think that they'll be as fascinated by my Piaget story when they're young. That's probably a story that you understand more, and you understand the weight of your ancestors later in life.
Of course.
But like, they'll understand the GMT.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be like, Grandpa had a GMT. Dad bought a GMT.
I will now own a GMT.
This was very, very expensive, and Dad could afford it when he was 27.
Yeah.
Because Dad worked hard.
Yeah.
You work hard.
Why do they talk like cavemen?
No, I'm explaining to them.
Oh, wow.
Because I speak to them simple.
I was like,
feel
were they
heavy.
saying this?
Dad, feed you. Then she goes, so we're rich? No.
No.
Dad rich. You poor.
Yeah.
You poor.
You have virtually nothing.
Yeah. That's what Shaq tells us guys. You're like, so we're rich, right? He's like, no, I'm rich. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, it's all
get a Daytona. And you know what? Get it in gold.
No.
Because $20,000 it's the same thing as $48,000.
While we're there, it's the same. I'm like, no, you have to admit, you're like, I don't see it.
But would you prefer to spend $48,000 or waste $22,000? Because I can't afford to waste $22,000.
You're right.
That's just too much money to waste.
Right.
I'd rather just spend the $48,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is a great episode. If you like this episode and you want more content from Theo and Harris, go down below and join our community at The Zero. There's some amazing content on there. We release podcasts every single week. We do live chats every month or twice a month now with our community. It's incredible. If you do go sign up, even on a 7-day free trial, shoot me a DM. I'd love to go back and forth with you about watches and happy to answer any questions you might have. Hope to see you on over there.
Again, thank you so much, Teach Hanley, for sponsoring this video. You can check out the link below.
If you love watches like I do, if you think that they mean something more than the time, then head on over to theoandharris.com and shop our selection of vintage watches and handmade straps. They're unique and they're special, and once they're gone for good.